everywhere 100 million pounds, and they're different. Huh? They range differently from everyone, but and from country to country, to be fair. Different countries have different tax laws, so with different vehicles. But from your point of view, at the sort of normal end, I'm not going to call it the low end because I'm in that boat as well. It's as tax efficient as you can get it. That's where you start. You use all the tax efficiencies, and then you step up into different things.
Welcome back to the show. It's your girl Sarah right here on Relaks Radio, and I'm super excited to be here because I'm going to be sharing some amazing thoughts and also a lot of interesting and important information with you, so I can make sure that you are safe and I can make sure that you're always informed about the very latest that happens not just here in the United Kingdom, but in fact all over the entire world as well. All right. Now, if you want to get in touch with me, well, you can do that. All you need to do is just text me on 078 share your thoughts, share your opinions with me because I would absolutely love to hear whatever it is that you have to say. All right. And we're going to be keeping you updated with regard to a lot of other, news items as well. So make sure to stay updated, make sure to stay informed because that way you can actually make sure that you're the first to know about the very latest that happens, not just here in the United Kingdom, but in fact all of the entire world as well. Okay. So make sure to do that. Now, before we head into the conversation, I want to very quickly remind you that you can in fact go follow us on our socials. All you need to do is just go follow us on our socials. All right. You can go like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And you can also, go subscribe to us on our YouTube channel because that way you can actually make sure that you're always informed about the very latest that happens, not just here in the United Kingdom, but in fact all of the entire world as well. And our app is available for download on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, which means that you can always listen in from anywhere in the world at any time of the day. All right, and that's absolutely amazing because that way you can actually make sure that you can make sure that you are always listening in and you're always contributing to the conversation because that way you will be a part of this conversation as well. And that's what we want to do right here at Relax Radio. So don't forget to do that. Now, however, let's head back into our conversation because we're going to be talking about, obesity. We're going to be talking about why obesity is such a big problem here in the United Kingdom. All right. Now, it's in fact called a silent killer as well because the rates of obesity here in the United Kingdom is in fact so huge, right? We have huge rates of obesity here in United Kingdom. However, despite all of that, we have people who still who don't really understand the impacts of eating unhealthy food and whatnot, right? Now, obesity is in fact one of the biggest health crises that the country faces. And if you are, to simply define what obesity is, it's basically abnormal or even excessive fat accumulation that presents a risk to health, right? Now, body mass index of over 30 is in fact considered obese, right? So, that's just like the measurement that you use to figure out if you're obese or not. Now, here's the thing though, there's a lot of thought and there's a lot of debate right now going on as well, with regard to the BMI being racist, right? They're actually saying that the BMI is a very it's basically a very racist thing, and that what they're doing actually is in fact quite terrible, right? So that is a whole other discussion as well, but we will talk about that sometime later. However, for the purpose of this conversation, we're just going to focus on obesity and what exactly this is and how exactly you can help yourself or you can help someone that is suffering from obesity. All right. Now, almost two-thirds of adults in England, which is roughly about 63%, are actually considered overweight or living with obesity, right? And that's a big problem because this is just 63% of all adults, right? And if you think about it, that's more than 60%. So two-thirds of this population are actually suffering from obesity. And something that we don't know, or something that not a lot of us are aware about, is that obesity is in fact one of the biggest problems. And with obesity, you also have a lot of other health complications like heart diseases, cancers, and so much more, which we will be talking about in a few more minutes. Right now, one in three primary or rather one in three children actually leave primary school overweight or obese, right, which means that a lot of them leave school with either obesity related illnesses, or or they're considered obese, right. And these are children as well, so it's a big problem because it's not just affecting adults, and this is not even just majority of the adult population, but in fact it's affecting a lot of children who are sick and who are living here in the United Kingdom as well, right. So obesity related illnesses actually cost the NHS about £6 billion a year, and that's just obesity. So you can imagine, with the pandemic, with being unable to screen a lot of diseases, with having to give up a lot of beds and healthcare of other patients to make room for COVID-19 patients. Obviously, the NHS has had to deal with a lot of additional costs, right? Now, the urgency of tackling this obesity time bomb has in fact been brought to the fore by evidence of the link that it has an increased risk from COVID-19. All right, so if you're obese and you have COVID-19, then chances are it's not going to be that good for you, right? There is a high risk for people who are obese and who contract COVID-19, because living with excess weight actually puts people at greater risk of serious illness or even death from COVID-19, right? And the thing is, as much as your body mass index increases, the higher your body mass index is, the higher risk you have with regard to other diseases, right? Now, nearly 8% of critically ill patients with COVID-19 in intensive care units have in fact been morbidly obese, right? And this is in comparison with the 2.9% of the general population. So it's important to keep that in mind as well. However, now we're going to head into a small break, and after that we will be back to keep talking more about this. But until then, make sure you stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. It's your girl Sarah right here on Relax Radio. Now you're tuned into the sunrise, and I'm super, super excited to be here because we're having a very important and even interesting conversation with regard to, obesity, with regard to how obesity has a huge impact in terms of, in terms of COVID-19, and how, an increased risk, how there's an increased risk, especially for you if you are obese, right? So that's what the conversation is about. But don't worry, because I'm here to make you understand, help you understand understand and help you get have a better understanding of of obesity and what exactly you need to do, and what changes really need to be made to make sure that you understand how to get rid, or how to make sure that you're much healthier. All right, so you're tuned into the sunrise, like I just said, and I'm here to keep you company all the way until 9 a.m. And the time for you right now is actually 7:43 a.m. here in England. So make sure you stay tuned because I have a lot more to be sharing with you, right? However, before we head back into the conversation, I want to very quickly remind you that you can, in fact, be a part of the show. All you need to do is text me on 078 let me know your thoughts, let me know your opinions about obesity. You can even share your experience if you've been obese and you're healthier now, or if you're currently going through it. Don't forget to share your experiences with me, right? And the reason I'm saying that, obviously, is because I want to make sure that I share it with everyone else who's listening in as well. So we can create a lot of awareness and a lot of understanding among each other, among the community, to make sure that people understand understand how obesity is in fact one of the biggest crises here in the United Kingdom. All right. So obviously that is what needs to be kept in mind as well. And before we head into the conversation, I want to very quickly remind you that you can in fact be a part of this show. All right. All you need to do is just text me and call me. And also don't forget to go follow us on our socials, because if you go follow us on Facebook, or rather like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, you can actually make sure that you get the very latest, you're updated on the very latest in terms of you know updated in about the very latest in terms of news, science, sports, technology, whatever it is that you're interested in. And don't forget to download our app either, which is available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. That way you can actually make sure that you're informed, you're always updated about the very latest that happens, not just here in and all over the world as well. And you can join into the conversation live as well, so don't forget to do that. Now, before we now let's actually head back into our conversation, because obviously, we need to be talking about obesity and why it's in fact one of the biggest problems here in the United Kingdom. All right. Now, let's actually very quickly talk about the risks of obesity, because that is a very important conversation that we need to have as well. Okay. Now, it's very important to take steps to tackle obesity, because, as I mean, in addition to causing very obvious physical damage, it can also lead to a number of serious and potentially life-threatening conditions, right? And the reason I want to let y'all know about all of this is because that way you can actually spread awareness. You can make sure that people who are obese will also be more informed, will also be more updated about what exactly is going on with obesity, and why you need to make sure that you're safe and you're exercising and you're eating healthy food, because obesity has direct link with regard to COVID-19. Because if you have obesity and if you're obese and you have COVID-19, then you have an increased risk of your illness or disease getting much more serious, right? Now, a lot of these life threatening conditions are actually type 2 diabetes, which is in fact very dangerous, and obviously coronary heart disease, and some types of cancer, such as breast cancer or even bowel cancer. All right. And you can also get strokes if you're obese. So make sure to keep that in mind as well, right? And you know what? Like, here's the thing. I feel like even though we have all of this information on the internet, we have like so many articles that say, look, you know what, type 2 diabetes is bad. If you are obese, you might have a chance of getting it. We don't really know until something like that happens to a close friend of ours, right? And I feel like this is the same with COVID as well. A lot of people started focusing on it more when they realized it has a huge impact, not just to each other, but in fact to the whole world as well. So that's when people actually started paying attention and thinking, you know what, like, we need to do something about this. I need to change something about this. All right. So that's when that actually started happening. All right. Now, it like I said, it can also cause a stroke. It can also cause a stroke, right? Now, something else that obesity causes is in fact low self-esteem, and even things like depression, and it can lead to psychological problems as well, right? This is because if you're constantly not feeling good in the way that you look, if you're constantly being told by doctors or whatnot that it's not good for you and you're unhealthy, well, it's going to lead to a lot of psychological problems as well, right? And the best way to actually treat obesity is to eat a healthy reduced calorie diet, right? And you need to obviously exercise regularly as well. So to basically do this, you need to eat a balanced calorie controlled diet that is recommended by either general physician or even a weight loss management health professional such as a dietitian, right? And you can actually join a local weight loss group, share your stories, share how it's like, and share the whole experience. Or you can actually take up activities such as fast walking or jogging or even swimming or tennis for about 150 to 300 minutes. Okay, so I know that might seem hard at the beginning, but if you keep on going, it's not really going to get hard, right? Which is roughly about 2.5 2.5 to 5 hours per week, right? Which honestly isn't that hard. If you work out say if you work out an hour for a week, then that should really help you, right? And when I say week, it doesn't even have to be like 7 days of the week. It can just be 6 days or 5 days and then have a rest day, basically things like that. So make sure to do all of those because that will definitely help you. But right now we're going to head into a small break, and after that we will be back to keep talking more about this. So until then, make sure that you stay tuned.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday. And what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. What am I saving or investing for? Why am I doing it? When will